Cool. Yeah, sounds good.
Yo, what up?
Yo, we're live, I guess. Thanks you, Phil and Lucas, for joining. Man, I'm excited to do this and hang out with you guys every time. We do a little Comics Misexplained show. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook for some comic memes. But tonight we like to hang out once a week and do a little discussions about what's going on in the pop culture hemisphere of everything, not just comics, TV shows, movies. Tonight I think we definitely want to talk about Hawkeye. I'm
Yeah.
excited for that. Also, I got to give a shout out to our sponsors at FAMRA. Thank you, FAMRA, for sponsoring us and putting this all together in the first place. FAMRA is a free app on the Apple iPhone store
At the App Store.
and the App Store. There you go. Yeah, it's free. Check it out. It's fun, a lot of fun, and you can go live and do a lot of cool things. So, and you can watch us there, and you can see our little event there to jump into it. We're also on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook, live streaming everywhere. So multi-streaming. Thank you to Phil, the magical streaming wizard. You the man.
We just
And I like
this
your
the
your
multiverse, you know.
I like your Meow Wolf hat. That's a magical place. I love Meow Wolf.
Oh, thanks. Have you
Yeah,
been
very
to...
cool that you got to go to there.
Yeah, I just recently went to the one here in Denver, but this hat I bought at the original one in Santa Fe. Have y'all been?
I've been to the one in Vegas, and it was
Oh.
I
amazing.
have not.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, it was incredible. It was like that, and I'm sorry, what's that place that's connected to Omega Mart?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Omega Mart is amazing. That's pure like what exactly the meme group you're with, the Illuminati. I was
The Lunamati.
Illuminati.
Yeah, Lucas is well, I shouldn't be revealing everybody's identities, I guess. Yeah,
Whoa,
Lucas
yeah,
is-
we can't discuss that.
But if you're a good fan of Instagram memes, check out the Illuminati and the hemisphere of pages that are revolving around like fake products.
Yeah.
I guess product parodies, and it's fantastic. A lot of funny stuff there. I guess Lamrat is a good page. It has a lot of fake products there from Walmart. Homage parody. Lol Caesars is another one I can think of.
And the OG post-ironic meme vault, of course. Thank you, Candle. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you,
that's a
Candle.
great one. I was going to do that one a couple years ago. I just never pulled the trigger on it. I was going to
Damn,
call it like
you slept on it.
yeah, I was going to call it like bad Yankee Candle or something like that, or fake Yankee Candle. But yeah. So yeah, great stuff out there. I guess we'll start it off. What do we want to talk about? Do you want to start at like the show, or do we want to talk about like more like the art, or is there other topics you want to start? How about like maybe we start off what we've been watching, what you've been recommending? Phil, I know you've been watching other stuff besides comic stuff.
Well, I do think we should dive into the show of Hawkeye. I mean, it's the big, it's kind of the big thing that happened in the world of comic TV stuff. But I mean, I will preface that by saying I've been watching some other stuff. I'd love to circle back to one of being Wheel of Time. That one's, I mean, it's really burst out on the scene. It's bursted it out on the scene. Busted out.
Busting out. Busting, yeah.
And then we've been watching a lot of Succession as well. My wife and I, we love all the HBO premiere television shows, and we've been trying to get through Sopranos, but we got totally sidetracked for Succession. And I don't know we should see if we have the audience for a discussion about that kind of stuff. But I think we should dig into Hawkeye. But before we do, Lucas, you want to tell us what you've been watching?
Yeah, Hawkeye's definitely one of them. Because Clint kind of just is in the MCU. But I think great start. Looking very much forward to that, as I have all the other Disney Plus MCU shows. Aside from that, I just wrapped up Cowboy Bebop on Netflix.
Oh.
Just finished the last episode today, actually. Really enjoyed that. Looks like we're going to see another season for sure. Just with that how it ended, which is awesome. Would gladly watch that again. Trying to think of what else. I did watch the whole Tiger King season 2 right when it came out.
No way.
Not as great as the first season, but how can it possibly be? But very cool. They started off season 2, the first episode, with a lot of memes about the series, and some Illuminati members had their memes featured. So shout out to PF Memes China Bistro and Speda Comedy. They both had memes featured in the intro to Tiger King episode 1 of season 2. And
Oh,
of
that's
course,
incredible.
also some other larger accounts like the GOAT, Adam the Creator had a meme in there too. So very cool. That was super fun. And yeah, Wheel of Time is something I want to check out. Ted Lasso is also on there, so we'll see what I do next. But there's plenty to watch. And as of today, I need a new show to start.
Oh wow.
Very cool. I want to give a shout out to Zen Multiverse in the chat. He said he wants to check out Cowboy Bebop. Hopefully it's fun as the anime. I watched the first episode of the live action on Netflix. I enjoyed it. It's a very one for one as the first episode of Cowboy Bebop, which I appreciate. And I think I started the second episode, but I'm trying to finish the actual anime because I never got to watch that before. So I'm very close to finishing that, and then I'm gonna finish the show. I almost kind of wish I would have watched the show and then the anime afterwards as a viewing experience. But I always like to watch the source material before watching like the new thing. But yeah, I enjoy it. I think it's a very good, kind of comparable one for one thing. I guess some things apparently some people say they don't translate well, but it's like, what do you expect, man? You can't please everybody or do everything just right. So I think they did a good job for what it is, man. So check it out.
Hell yeah. I love that. That's a nice way to
Agreed.
start the show. We ought to keep that up. And I do want to send a shout out to the viewers. I apologize. I set up a new OBS layout for us, and there was probably a couple of audio glitches in there. I think we lost Lucas's start where he said he watched Hawkeye with his family, but other than that, you heard him. And then I think on the 3 shot earlier, there was probably a little echo reminiscent of Cool Cigars episode of Chill Neil. I don't think it was quite that bad, but if y'all are watching and wondering what the hell is going on, I'm still actually, I was, refining everything on the fly there, but I think we should be in good shape. I wanted to say that in case y'all detect any other audio blips, let me know, but I think we're dialed in now.
Cool.
So
yeah, I guess I do want to say what I've been watching recently was my wife randomly wanted to watch all the X-Men movies. And so we started from 1 to all the new ones. And it's been a journey. We just finished the last one. We finished the Phoenix Saga or whatever, whatever the new one was called. But yeah, and she enjoyed them mostly for the most part, but it's more like her, it's fun to see her learn who these characters are and what their power sets are and kind of how they're connected to other characters and things like that. So it's fun to see her go through that stuff. And it's been a long time since I've seen those. And now we're going to watch the Fantastic Four movies, the 3 of those. So wow. That's kind of fun. We started the first one today, and we're almost done with that one. But
so you said all 3. So what are you talking about? Which was, weren't there 2? Oh, right. And then there was a reboot. I forgot. Wow.
Fan 4 Stick. Fan 4 Stick. Yeah. With Michael B. Jordan. Yeah.
Crazy. I don't think I ever saw that, to be honest with y'all. I think it got panned so hard I just didn't even give it a try.
Yeah. I kind of want to watch see if she wants to watch Daredevil and Elektra and other older Marvel movies that aren't technically in canon or whatever. But we'll see how it goes.
Pre-MCU.
Yeah, pre-MCU for sure. So that's fun.
Well, let's talk about, speaking of the MCU, let's talk about Hawkeye, the Disney Plus show. It's the new one that's rolled out after all the ones that had I don't know. I should probably put Loki in the spot. That was the one that rolled out after all the big ones kind of hit the, I don't know what I'm talking about. I guess Hawkeye is just still in the same phase, would you say? I felt like it was setting a new phase up, but I guess they're all kind of in the same little block of programming. Yeah? No?
I don't know phase wise, but what I will say is I had read that Hawkeye is currently the latest in the future of anything we've seen yet in the MCU. That it takes place about 2 years after the blip. And so everything else that we've seen thus far has actually taken place before Hawkeye. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So it is in a sense definitely a new foray into a newer phase. So to my knowledge, I guess not even to my knowledge. No Way Home is happening right after the last one. So it'll, even after the new Spider-Man movie, it'll continue to be for a little bit the latest in the MCU in terms of time. So
interesting.
Yeah, that was a little interesting little tidbit.
Amazing
Yeah, for sure.
context, Lucas. Thank you, man. I wouldn't
Yes,
have
of
known
Yeah.
that
course.
otherwise.
Yeah, I too heard it was like the latest in the time period, but I didn't know how it related to No Way Home, if that was going to take place later or earlier. That's very cool to know, and keep that in mind as the show goes on. Um, I thought it was interesting how we saw at the end of episode 2. I guess that's supposed to be Echo, and I'm trying to think of
Yes.
expectations for the show because we know the new Black Widow is supposed to arrive as well. We heard
Yes.
Yes.
her rumored in the show early on and confirmed, and so and we heard Echo confirmed. So that's nice to see. Seems like has a lot of people that take on a lot of protagonists. He's got Black Widow, Echo, and then the tracksuit mafia, the tracksuit Draculas. Uh, I guess in the comic they're tracksuit Draculas, but in the show they're tracksuit mafia. They changed that.
Why do you think they
But
made that change? I didn't even know that. I'll be
yeah,
completely honest with y'all. I didn't ever read the Matt Fraction run. I just was
oh,
like
it's
affected by it from
it's great.
afar.
My wife doesn't read comics, and I was like, I have to, you have to read the first volume and see how good the comic is before you watch the show, and just see where I'm coming from.
Oh,
You got to
nice.
see this. And she's like, I don't want to read it by myself. Can you read it to me? I'm like, yeah, I'll sit like next to you with like my arm over your shoulder, and like we'll read it together. Like we can do
Oh,
that.
wow.
So yeah, so we did that, and we'd read the first volume, five, or actually 5 issues. I was like, did we go longer? No, we went to 5 issues. Um, and yeah, so she saw how fun it was and the different art styles, and I kind of showed her like kind of how to read comic books because like the Fraction run is kind of like experimental, not really experimental, but it's more like I guess advanced comics. It's not like your regular like panel to panel to panel. It's like one panel and like a lot of other panels spread out in some scenes and a lot of weird. I think it's very European comics, but so she was like, "Thank you for like showing me how to like this is inner dialogue in the boxes, and the word balloons are actual dialogue that they're saying out loud, and there's like little like comic rules, when you're reading that. I guess the regular person maybe might not understand right away.
I love that. I love
So
this idea like comics as date night. Like you could just read. I love the mental image you gave us all with your arm around your wife, like
yeah,
reading.
the dog's trying to like lick us both in the phone, and we're just like trying to move. So it was fun, and so she saw like what his character is like, and it's how it's different from the show. How he's more of like a single bachelor guy, playboy kind of guy in the comics, and more jokey and fun loving. And then the comics, he has a family. He's kind of like old and tired and just wants to go home, you know. And and so she really liked the character of Kate, the young Hawkeye, and that she's like really playful and witty and sassy, and she kind of likes this one too in the show. It kind of adds up to it, and like there's a lot of homages in the show to the comics. It's pretty cool, but like I guess for the how I started this rant was the tracksuit Draculas and tracksuit Mafia of why that happened. It was like in the comic, there was a tracksuit Dracula because like the landlord of the apartment building Clint Barton was living in was like he's upped the rent like 3 times of the regular rent pay, so no one could afford it. So he's draining everyone, with money. He's a tracksuit Dracula. He's draining everybody.
Oh,
So then he had his
nice.
crew, his mafia, that was with him. The tracksuit Draculas is what they called them in the comics. So in this one, there's no dilemma of that happening just yet. You don't see his other apartment, homies in there. We do get Grills. We met Grills in episode 2.
Yep.
He was a firefighter, I guess, apparently that stole the Echo costume.
Oh,
In the
right. Wow.
comic, he was like living in the same apartment building as Hawkeye, and he called him Hawk Guy all the time. And he they called him Grills because everyone in the apartment building would hang out and meet on the rooftop, and they had a grill, and it was his grill, and he'd be grilling burgers and stuff for the whole entire like everyone in the building, like it's a hangout every night,
Mm.
like dinner for everybody. So he's Grills, man, always cooking. So he's a cool character in the comics. He's like I think like an older 40, 50-year old like white dude, like chubby, and just loves Clinton Barton to death. So they changed the character drastically to the show, but I'm glad they introduced him and said his name, so we kind of know maybe they're going to be homies in the future in the show. Hopefully, we'll see more of Grills.
Amazing. Well, hey, something that we had already put on our show notes, but somebody in the chat, Gore Vidal says, uh, was there some Hawkeye controversy because David Aja wasn't given equal
Right?
credit on the series with Matt Fraction?
Oh yes.
I definitely think we should discuss that because I mean, there's very iconic art style. from the run. If you I've never read it, but even just knowing of it, it's like the thing I would know is the art style, which is like these very kind of understated color schemes with very like iconic shapes. And everything's almost all purple, shades of purple and white, and like it's kind of a minimalist almost illustration
Yeah.
style. And I think that's one of the things that made that book shine beyond. I mean, the writing is, I'm not trying to underscore that either, but the imagery was very recognizable, I guess is my point, and it carried through into the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess there's a lot of controversy over that. I mean, where does it start and end with comic creators' rights, whether it be artists or writers? And some people that like to defend, I guess Disney or whoever's in charge of those decisions. They're like, well, the artist signed a contract and they said you can use this art. They're paid a certain amount for this and that, and they got paid for their job. But now, it's not up to them that can be repurposed, or maybe that wasn't the contract, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? Like, there's a lot of gray areas, but I think if you're just a good person or a good leader in general of a business, be like, yo, we, copied all your stuff. Let me give you like a payback or like a producer credit or like something, some kind of credit in there to get you paid for
Right.
using your artwork, and that's cool. You're homaging like the stuff I made. That's incredible. But it's like, it's there's got to be some kind of equal payment to make things right, and not just be like, just take the credit for that man's work and style.
Well, I think there's
It's
something to be said for, we live in a capitalistic society, so work for hire is a thing. People are always going to be looking for, the bottom dollar, which is that I hired you to make this and I own the rights. So if I use it in a show, it's mine. But I agree. I think there should be, provisional, like royalty deals made. When I guess I would say for people that get into a situation with a company like Marvel, make sure that you get that TV and film right built into whatever you make, because I mean, it seems very obvious that they take from, I have a friend on Facebook. I'll send a shout out to Ash Freeman. He's talking about how Marvel Comics are always like the testing grounds for what's going to be coming next in these shows and these movies. And, when he first said that, I think, I was a little skeptical. And, Age of Ultron had, come out as the sequel to Avengers, which is pretty good evidence for what he's talking about. But now we see Ironheart and we see, all these things that are very, very, very new. And they are definitely becoming TV shows and movies. So I think it is important. Like, I bet when, the art was made for this comic book, they weren't even considering a movie or a TV show, And
Yeah, it's almost like, because we all like, are involved in the meme world. What if you make a meme that went so viral that they make a TV show out of it, and you're like, where's my money, dude? Like, and this no one ever contacts you or pays you. You're just like, all right, cool, all right, well, I guess fuck me then.
could God,
Right.
could God make
And-
a meme that was so viral that not even he could claim credit for it?
but it is.
Yep.
Is intellectual property. But then Netflix goes and puts them in the first episode. And it's just kind of like, like they didn't have to credit them, of course, but like I think like it would have been very cool. They would have been super stoked if they were credited for it. Like, I mean, they didn't show all these memes. So I think that is the thing, is just like, I think as creators, we all want our credit somewhere, and it doesn't even have to be monetary. And that extends. I mean, of course, we also do want monetary. That's besides the point. But we all want to get paid too. But I think that extends to all forms of art, and it's interesting that we see it work different ways in different industries. Like writers and artists a lot of the times are not credited, in the same way that you see in the music world, which is interesting. I think a lot of very good arts, the best art builds off of previous art. Like, everything is a reference to something. The idea that there's no original idea is sort of true, because you build and you pay homage, and it shows your kind of artistic capacity and your artistic IQ. But it's interesting to see, like, going on a tangent, like Olivia Rodrigo came up with her song that sounded like Paramore, and they decided that she owed royalties to Paramore and to Taylor Swift. And it's just like, well, obviously there's just obviously she was influenced, but like it was a song she wrote. So like in that sense, it's like, no, she shouldn't have had to pay. But then, this whole thing of David Asia having his own style and it being used, like that is a blatant, like he created this. And it's like, all you would have to do, I think, in this is just say like, hey, at least he inspired this, give him a producer credit at the very least. But I think in that realm, he deserves to get paid more so than creating a song that sounds like another song, because, like, the majority of artists these days are using very similar 4-chord verse chorus bridge chorus chorus structure. So I mean, the art is I think much more nuanced and original, and then copied for kind of all of the branding of Hawkeye. And think of it as branding, because that's what they're making money off of. You see the arts and the trailers and you're like, oh shit, I want to watch that. You buy Disney Plus, you make money. So I don't know. It's I think he is owed something for sure.
Yeah. I think a lot of people like to give Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page shit for copying, but man, wait till those people find out about hip hop producers. It's just like everything now is taken from something in the past. That's how it's always been, always. So. But at least you can give credit to those people to let people find the original material where that influence came from. I think
that's a ripe game for that metaphor. I feel like hip hop producers have been, a lot of artists have gone after those people for putting those samples in their records.
Yeah,
and it was always way after the fact. It's that question of ask for permission versus forgiveness. And I think in those cases you would have wished you would have asked for permission. But like, I think that's exactly what's happening here with the the Marvel situation, is that his art style made that book so, iconic to the point that it would be worth making a show off of. There should have been some oversight from somebody that knows, the depth of what this company makes, to be like, oh, he probably deserves some, something here. Executive producer credit, you would think. But hey, I don't know how this stuff works.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and Disney should have been better about that, because I mean, there's a big difference between like a kid in the 80s and 90s making his own samples and beats for the first time than like this mono creator of everything that can just be like, hey, we know we own Marvel and Hawkeye, but we really like your art. You want to be involved? You want $20, like like something. It's super easy for that, and the person that's in charge of that, like the lowest a person is somebody's assistant's going to be like, hey, by the way, we're doing this, here's your small check. Like it's such a minimal effort that could go into it.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. It's like, what should we expect from Disney from now on? We knew the whole entire Scarlett Johansson contract thing, didn't start out so well, and they didn't start off on the best foot, and I guess there's an undisclosed payment that happened after the fact, and I hope we see something like that happen with David Aja, But as far as I know, he hasn't like sued them or anything, so it's like, I don't think he's ever going to get that.
I very much doubt that his lawyers would beat Disney's lawyers should it come to that. But some good news about that. What I heard is despite what happened between Scarlett Johansson and Disney, is that she is now tied to some form of upcoming Marvel project.
Whoa.
So it has not completely severed their relationship. And I know Kevin Feige, backed her on this. So what I had read is, I don't know if it's an MCU project or if it's just a Marvel project. And of course, while they are both owned by Disney, I think Disney is much more hands-off of the comics and much more, of course, more hands-on to the cinematic universe. So either way, very interesting to hear that. It seems like at least some kind of agreement worked for both of them.
Yeah, after watching like all the X-Men movies, I feel like you can probably make like a Black Widow trilogy, of just her past missions and things like
Oh
that, and
yeah.
just solo movies. That could work out, and they'll probably do okay in the box office. Not like break numbers as the Avengers or anything like that, but it's like I'm sure they'll do okay. Like you can probably do that, but like I hope that she's contracted for like Secret Wars or something like that, like 10 years down the road. Something huge, some big
Yeah.
movie, like between the Avengers, the new young Avengers, everyone on the same planet, coexisting. Uh,
Well, and maybe I think, she had such a close relationship with Nick Fury.
yeah,
Samuel L. Jackson is still very much part of the MCU, and it seems like between Captain Marvel and Secret Wars and kind of all the other stuff that he's in, we can see Nick Fury throughout like a decent amount of time. Like it doesn't have to be linear, like just Fury post snap. It could be Fury, just when he first meets Natasha. I mean, it could be so many different things. I don't know how long Samuel L. Jackson is still. I don't know if he's still under contract, but he initially signed like a 10-movie deal or something, like fucking insane amounts. And now he's going in the TV show and who knows what else.
yeah, I definitely looking forward to his new look in Secret Invasion. He's got he lost the eye patch. He just has
Oh
the
yeah, Secret
cloudy
Invasion,
eye.
not Secret Wars. Yes,
Looks
yeah,
sick. Yeah, I love it. I want to give a shout
yeah.
out to Perry Comics in the chat. He's a good homie, and he his channel blew up a year or two ago where he did like react videos and things like that. So check him out if you want to watch him react to stuff, and many views and much love to Perry. Uh, yeah, Gore Vidal says, I was disappointed that Jason Bourne Black Widow trilogy wasn't made. Jennifer
Mm.
Lawrence's Red Sparrow came pretty close to being a Black Widow-like story. Yes, that definitely came into some
Yeah,
scrutiny.
yeah.
Everyone's like, that's a Black Widow movie. What are you doing coming out like a couple of months or a year before Black Widow? That was being made. You're making this.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. I also like John Wick, I think part three. They also had the same Russian school of dancing that were like spies as
Oh
well.
wow.
That's very Black Widow. It's just everything taken from Black Widow before it came out. It was pretty funny. But I guess where does the MCU go from I guess I don't know. Do you want to talk about Hawkeye more, or should we talk about like more MCU stuff?
Well, you know
Speaking of
what I would
franchise.
say is that we did a whole bit just reacting to the like the business behind Hawkeye. Why don't we
Yeah,
actually give
Yeah.
reaction to the show itself,
sure.
Like
You're right. Yeah, we never
we
really
got two
diagnosed the show.
episodes of new story that it opens right in the middle of the Battle of New York. The Chitauri are like blowing up New York, and I thought
That was a
I gotta
surprise.
say I thought it was really cool to see Kate Bishop's story begin there. I think there was a lot of fertile meme territory to be
Yes.
mined from that episode because the people were make I already saw so many memes of people like with the scene where she's like sees Hawkeye and then everything happens and she's at her dad's funeral and she's like whatever you want and she's like I need a bow and arrow and I need a and then I've seen people do like a version with the Hulk and
Thor.
Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I
Those are
thought,
hilarious. I need green paint and tight shorts.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
steroids. There's
yeah,
green paint and
steroids. That's
steroids.
what it was. Yeah, I forgot what the one for Thor was. It was so funny. Yeah, I love it. Those are fantastic
I
memes.
still feel like that's pretty untapped. I mean, you could do so many heroes with that same template, so I think that's very exploitable. But I mean, I think that got me roped in pretty quickly. It does feel beyond that pretty close to the streets. I mean, Kate Bishop's obviously very wealthy. Her mom's security company or whatever has always got her back, but she lives pretty close to the streets, being a fairly young superhero in the MCU, and she's in college. And overall, I think they got the tone and the plot right. I think it feels good beyond all the changes from the book, like y'all had talked about. Um, I don't know. I think it's off to a good start.
Me too, man. Do you think you have any conspiracies or John theories of future
What could
characters we'll
happen?
see, or who these characters are actually?
Man, nah, I gotta leave that for John. I don't know. I don't think I can do that. I mean, I would just say maybe Hawkeye's multiverse single version will show up at some point in the show from based on the comic book version of the character. How about that? That's pretty good,
Wow,
right?
that's a deep deep throw. Yeah, maybe. Can we check in on John? Is he around at all or not yet?
I haven't heard anything.
Okay. Okay.
Nah, I haven't heard anything from John. I guess I can go check
He
Messenger.
hasn't looked at Messenger since he sent us that
Okay.
message.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we send our love to John. I don't think he's gonna be
Yes.
here with us
Yes.
tonight.
Just wanted to check in. Okay. Well, I do have my theories. I think Kate's mom's fiance is the swordsman, which in the comics he trained Hawkeye, and I think he also trained Kate Bishop, but they changed things for the course of the MCU and the show. So not sure what his relation is to either characters. And then I think his mom or her mom might be Madame Mask, which is a villain in the comics. But we'll see because she seems to be like, oh no, things are fine, he's fine, but maybe she's working with him, and they're trying to make a thing together where she's actually the real villain, and not him. It's like a misdirect. Wow. So I think she could very well be Madame Mask, which is very strange to have, I guess, that relation be her mom. But I guess that wouldn't make any difference. They change things from the movies and comics all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She's not related in the comics, but you never know. But I thought that was pretty cool. I liked seeing those characters. I like the mom and her fiance. They're fun. That was
feel
fun.
like I recognize her fiance. Do y'all know anything else he's from?
Yes. Yeah. So Tony Dalton, the actor, plays the most recent villain in Better Call Saul. He's part of the Salamanca family. Really enjoyed him in Better Call Saul. Can't wait for the next season of that. But he's kind of like that charming, funny villain. And I'm hoping we kind of see that carry over. So I was excited to see him. It took me a second to place it. But yeah, Tony Dalton, Lalo Salamanca, that's his name. Otherwise, I haven't really. I couldn't tell you what else he's been in. I think he's mostly been in Mexican TV and movies. But yeah, I mean for sure he's swordsman. Jack Duquesne, swordsman's Jacques Duquesne. So for sure we're seeing swordsman at some points. But I had not thought about that about Kate's mom. And shout out to Vera Farmiga. She's great in a lot of the things I've seen her in. Really enjoyed her in Bates Motel. But I do kind of see what you're getting at about her potentially being a villain as well. I mean, not only because she's super wealthy, so just by association, she's kind of a bad guy. But I think the whole killing of Jack's uncle,
yeah,
he threatened her, she brushed it off, he's dead. Are we supposed to just think that Jack killed him?
Right.
And it's not him. So that'll be interesting to see. And maybe she is just in this kind of relationship that she doesn't know anything about it. But I feel like you don't get to be like that strong and successful of a woman and in any universe and get to be that blissfully ignorant. She's a head of a security firm.
Right.
She knows shit. I don't think she's dumb enough to just be like, no, he's a good guy and I don't know anything else about him, So we'll see if there's a double cross, especially because Swordsman is not necessarily a bad guy. He just has a troubled history.
Do you think she killed her husband? She told Kate to go and get the puzzle or whatever their game they're going to play, so she goes away. And then, coincidentally, there's the masking of a New York City world threat event happening during the same time, so she can get away with the crime while it's happening.
It is interesting because of also there's an argument between them and he dies. There's an argument between her and the Duquesne guy, and then he dies. Right. So maybe she did argue with Kate too, and she's still alive. But that could be very interesting thing. Because we don't see him die on camera. Her mom was gone during the commotion and then just shows up, but her dad doesn't, and we don't get any backstory as how it could be that their apartment just fell apart and he was killed under the rubble, but that's almost too convenient.
Yes.
So interesting. I had not thought about that either.
I really think we'll get that maybe the episode or two before the finale. We'll be like the reveal, what truly happened to the dad. I love that. And
Yeah.
also, I guess to go back to the swordsman, the uncle, his character was in the comics. I'm trying to remember what his character was specifically in the Fraction run. And I don't remember, just when his character popped up, my wife was like, "It's that guy." I'm like, "Yeah, it is that guy." But what was that guy again? She's like, I can't remember." But he was in the comic. But yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah.
So, do you guys feel like this show has potential? I guess I feel like it was in there with like what if as like filler, but it seems like maybe it has potential to have more, connective
Yeah.
tissue,
Well,
more.
did it meet you guys' expectations? For me, it fell a little flat. I thought it was going to be a lot more fun and a lot more faster paced. I was a little disappointed for some reason, and I thought I was really looking forward to this. I think a lot. I had high expectations, and for some reason I just thought it was going to be a lot more fun than it was.
Oh, you know what?
But
Here, before we do, here, let me throw up this video. Yeah, we have a nice little reaction video there. My reaction was almost
reactions, I see it.
all good. I mean, I enjoyed it, which is the best part. Is like at the end of one episode, I wanted to watch another, which is classic. I feel like Marvel has very strong showing abilities and not always as good like rewatching value. I feel like most of the Marvel stuff I've tried to go back to, I didn't want to rewatch it. There's probably like a handful of Marvel shows and movies that I'm like, yeah, I'll go rewatch that. So I would say this falls into that category, but like, so far I'm enjoying it.
So, man, what about you, Lucas?
Yeah, I think it helped that I didn't have a lot of expectations. I feel for a lot of the shows that Marvel decided to do, I didn't have a lot of expectations. Like even like a Loki show, I was like, I'm not sure, and then like it was
Yeah.
fucking great.
Yeah.
And so I think with Hawkeye, because Clint has just historically been the most boring Avenger since the MCU has started. I did find it to be a little bit more funny and playful than I imagined, actually, and even Clint was a little bit more fun than he typically has been. That said, we'll see if that sustains itself. But I think Kate Bishop is a great character, and Haley Steinfeld seems to be doing a great job playing her.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of sass and wit. So I think obviously it's like a lead into what she's going to do in the MCU. But I think as it focuses more on her, we'll have a little bit more fun going into it. So I am hopeful and optimistic for it. And I thought the Rogers musical was a very fun intro for it.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you. Yes.
I don't want them to make that into a full movie because it
Mm.
was like so, or a full musical because it was so like purposely cheesy and like kind of cringe. Like, so I don't want people to be like, no, make that, because then it's just like, no, it's like not going to be good. Actually, the whole point is it's a joke. But I love it for what it was.
I love that he was like, that guy wasn't there, and was Ant-Man, he wasn't there, but they put him in the play. And I love how like the memes that spawned off of that, where they're like, the best one I saw was like, that guy wasn't there, and then it was like I never should have smoked that shit. Now I'm in the Steve Rogers play
Yep.
on
Yes.
Broadway. That was
I haven't
hilarious.
seen that
Oh my
yet.
god,
Wow,
that
that's
was
good.
so good. I almost cried. It was so funny. Because that one died out for a little bit, so it was so good to see that guy back. I never should have smoked that shit meme. So funny. I love Kate Bishop. I love the comics version and the Haley Steinfeld version. I think she's a perfect casting for that character. My only little tiny complaint about it is like I wish their interactions. I guess I don't know even how you would do it. I guess because their comic versions are so different as opposed to the real live action one. So it's like her live action one's more like kind of messing up all the time and not sure what she's doing and goofing off and making mistakes. Meanwhile, the comic version is like ultimate Hawkeye. She's like perfect. She's better than Hawkeye, like from the get go. She's just like better than him. So she doesn't make mistakes, and she's not like silly and dropping shit and putting on costumes in a wrong point of time, and being goofy and like, oh, what's happening? Pulling a Sandra Bullock, I would say, and mostly Sandra Bullock is like, what am I doing? Uh, but like but in this she's totally different, but she still fits her, and I can see her being that character of the comics version later on in further movies, being like the confident, strong, perfect, better Hawkeye. in future movies, and I think that's what they're building up to. So we have yet to see it, but we will see it, I think, for sure. Hopefully by the end of the show, I'm sure they'll make her like, have her, in the best light possible. But it's cool to see her. I guess that makes sense to have her grow from being an amateur to a pro in the show. So that's cool. I'm down.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm hoping it kind of goes like that too, and it makes sense, like have her be a kid while she's a kid, especially if like the young Avengers they introduced are going to stay with the MCU for the next decade or whatever. Like I mean, how long term is this character growth and these arcs going to be? So that could be very interesting. But it's nice to see, I think, at least kind of the duality between her and Hawkeye. Hawkeye's serious kind of, like I think we're gonna see her become a more full-fledged superhero as the series progresses, and Hawkeye will like kind of like chill the fuck out a little bit and kind of be more of like a likable, less boring version of Clint.
I mean,
Kind of which is also Hawkeye is more likable and fun in the comics. So maybe we will see this kind of divergence where they almost switch roles.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I like that theory. That's cool. Hopefully he will make it home in 5 days. I guess is the time count. Before he can.
Right. I mean,
before Christmas. Surely he will.
He's gonna show up like day of on the porch, like last minute. I'm not gonna make it, and then he's gonna make it, and he's gonna have that dog with him or whatever.
Lucky.
Like, we got a dog. Like fuck. Like
I don't know, if you guys haven't read the comics, man, there's a whole entire issue about Pizza Dog from the dog's point of view. A whole entire issue of like what the dog sees and does, and I really would love to see a Pizza Dog episode in this show. I'm not sure we're gonna get it from watching 1 and 2, but like if I was in charge of the show, I would have made a Pizza Dog episode, like that dog's point of view, give fill in on back characters and what the dog witnesses. He's like the main like fill in every single like little side story and thing and crucial information from the dog's point of view would be like that crucial episode. Like it's possible we could get that. We don't know. But
that sounds awesome. That sounds like a great post credit scene at the very least.
You're right. Yeah.
Well, fellas, I gotta get going.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got to do some holiday things.
Nice.
We're about time to wrap up too, so we can wrap this up.
I wanted to give us some time to wrap up. Yeah.
You want to say where people can find you, man?
Yes, absolutely. So when I'm not doing this, I am on Instagram, Facebook as Post Ironic Meme Vault. Well, Facebook's Guy Fieri's Post Ironic Meme Vault. You can find me at Post Ironic Meme Vault. On Twitter at Post Ironic Meme, because you cannot have that many characters in your Twitter accounts, I found out.
That's right.
So you can find me there and perhaps in the Illuminati, but I will not say anything.
Very cool. How about you, Phil?
Check me out. I got an Instagram page, Lamrat. I never know how to say it out loud. Check me out on Twitter at PhilBuck. That's the only one that I actually got my only name. And I'm doing like a morning news stream. So every morning, if you're up at like
on YouTube,
YouTube, Twitch, everything, I'll try to share it out on my Twitter. And I just read the news and have a little cup of coffee with y'all. And I also do a podcast called The Suck. You should check that out. It's coming out, a new episode on Monday. Tomorrow there'll be a new episode. So hell yeah.
Nice.
And it premieres at noon, right?
It does, noon Eastern time.
Yes. Love it. I love The Suck. I love that podcast. It's so funny. Some of the best meme creators on there, and it's pure hilarity all the time. A lot of inappropriate stuff you can't play with your family, or with some friends.
Absolutely. Where should everybody find you, Jason?
Yeah. Check me out. I guess I'm everywhere. I'm PartyPug 666 on Facebook and Instagram, and Slow Heavy Metal Music Playing on Instagram and Facebook, and Pooh and Tim's on Instagram and Facebook.
You got so many pages, man. You got too many.
Misexplained, on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm trying to make a comeback to Twitter, but on Twitter I just have my name, Jason Cantu 1, because I guess apparently some other Jason Cantu got that tag before me, man. So you got the 1 at the end. So thank you all for joining.
Yes, thank you.
Sponsors at FAMRA. Thank you for us hanging out, FAMRA, so much. We love you. And check out the FAMRA app on the Apple iTunes Store. You can download it for free. and start your own profile. Friend us up, because we'll be on here frequently. You can watch our shows. Our programming is like right there. It has a banner. You press on it when it's scheduled time. You can watch our show on camera in our little fun environments that we do on there. It's pretty trippy. It's pretty fun and cool. And then, check us out on YouTube. Comments is Explained on YouTube. Comments is Explained on Facebook. And we're out. Thanks, y'all.
Peace. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Peace, y'all.